I allow myself to settle now into that deep space of the heart, grounded, feeling the earth energy rising through my feet, and feeling myself now open at the top. Beautiful cosmic energy pouring in, meeting right there in the center of my being, perfectly centered. In this space, as I look out into my life, into the world, I realize that everything that happens is right action. It's a perfect unfoldment of thought put into mind. And I laugh at myself. It's the good news and the bad news. That as I have thought, now my world is imaging. But the good news is that I can make a choice to think a different world into existence by putting myself in the center of my heart and checking those old thoughts which have brought discord and discomfort into my life. I choose right now to express love in the world, to express the Christ consciousness of which we are all so aware at this time of year. I remember what this Master taught us, to love one another, and that he also said, as you give, so shall you receive. With these two laws in mind, I step forward now from this moment into every moment that is to come, remembering them, staying centered in my heart, and watching as a joyous world unfolds around me. I give thanks for these laws which uphold and support me. I give thanks for this center, which allows me to come in community with like-minded people and to hear over and over again until I get it, how life can be beautifully manifested. And so it is. And Reverend Judith is going to speak to us. I think she's going to do more than speak to us. She's going to express her heart.
I'd like to say, first of all, for the parents of those beautiful children, you can find them after the service in the social hall. They won't be in the cottage, so don't go out to the cottage. They're making snowflakes to decorate the sanctuary with today. And thank you so much, Carlos, for being here today. It was very good of you to do that, and we really appreciate it. The choir is wonderful. So we're talking this morning about right action. And that's a phrase that's used a lot in our teaching. And it can be an interesting journey to figure out what right action is. As I was looking it up, it showed up that it is the fourth of the 8 path factors in the Noble Eightfold Path of Buddhists. And it's defined as abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from unchastity. This is called right action. So that kind of reminds me of my Catholic upbringing. It's a lot of thou shalt nots. But, it doesn't leave you much with, but what is right action then, besides abstaining from doing wrong action? And it's a phrase, as I say, that is used a lot in our teaching. And you'll hear a lot of people use it in their prayers, divine right action, invoking divine right action. And we always think that divine right action is for things to unfold the way we want them to, right? If things would just go the way I want them to, it'll be divine right action. Oh, struck a little chord of familiarity there, yeah. And we're always so sure that, that when we pray that we know exactly what we want. And yet divine right action is far more than that. And it's admitting, as we can do so well in hindsight, when we look back and say, wow, that really unfolded perfectly, even though I didn't like it at the time and it was a little painful. But what wonderful lessons, or how everything really happened perfectly. But when we're going through it, our ego thinks that we know exactly how we want it to be. And our ego doesn't have the whole picture. Our ego just has what it wants right now. And so we have to understand that there is a part of us, that divine part of us, that knows far more, and knows that divine right action is what happens, what unfolds for everyone's highest good, not just your own. For example, when we look at this event, like our beloved Jeffrey Proctor, Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Proctor, I don't know how old he was, but I consider him a young man. Anybody younger than me is young, right? And so I considered him a young man. He might have reached 50 or been in his 50s. But it's hard to look at that and see how that could be divine right action because we've lost such a wonderful, powerful force in our movement. And yet I know that it is. I know that it is because there's no such thing as death, and it's not the end of his soul's journey. And there are a couple of very wise people that I'd like to quote in that regard. Khalil Gibran is one of the ones that I cite in every memorial service that I do. And he said in his book, The Prophet, "For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered?